Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
As the new year starts, many Hoosiers are hoping to achieve new goals and accomplish new heights.
Meet the fellow Hoosiers we've been inspired by over the last year. Soar with the sounds of Phillip Hammond, an accomplished violinist shocking audiences across the state. Delight in the comedy of Red Skelton, Indiana's most beloved entertainer and the country's first celebrated clown. Discover how one Indiana farm's daring innovation is changing the state's approach to dairy. And catch up with Indiana's rising musical star, Shaun Fleming of Diane Coffee. Find inspiration from fellow Hoosiers.
It's all coming up on the weekly special.
Hello, I'm Erica Sagone.
And I'm Daryl Neer. With the arrival of the new year, Hoosiers across the state are setting their sights on achieving new goals.
But they don't have to look far for inspiration. Looking to increase your self-discipline? Meet Phillip Hammond, one of Indiana's fastest rising stars.
He always showed he was touched when music was going on.
This was this series of Baby Einstein, and there was the Schumann scenes from childhood. It started, and he just turned around, went to the TV, and just touched the screen and listened to the whole thing. And I said, you know, this baby has a special connection with music.
Every summer, my parents and I go to Colorado to a Rocky Ridge music camp. There was one year I heard someone playing a piece by Dvorak on the violin. For some reason, I'm not sure why, I went outside with my mom after and I told her that I wanted to play the violin.
Well, she had a very important role in those beginnings. And of course, he loved what he was doing. But I think it's all because of her, you know, how encouraging she was. And she worked with him every day.
But when you see your child learning and getting better and enjoying the activity, then of course it's worth it.
I had my eye on Phillip right from the beginning. He had a really strong and beautiful concept of sound, which I was attracted to. So it was really a pleasure to watch him develop. And then at a certain point, as he started to become more advanced, to have the pleasure of working with him in my studio. With specific kids, you have to teach that part of music where you draw it out, you try to visualize what sort of character. For Phillip, he tends to come to the lessons already with a strong sense of what it is he's trying to project, which I think is unusual. So my job is really then to help make him really powerful as a performer, to refine the technical details so that he's able to speak in a stronger voice.
It's always good to look at the music for a very long time until you have the piece in your head. So practicing a lot definitely makes it a lot easier to have that in your head, to memorize like a tune that you can't stop singing in your head. Well, I usually remember all the advice and tricks and different techniques that Brenda tells me in a lesson. I have Post-it notes and a notebook that I usually put the very specific details down so I don't forget them after a lesson, and I make sure to practice that specifically. Brenda makes sure to give me an in-depth understanding of what she wants me to fix and what she wants me to do in a piece so I can have that in my head clearly whenever I do a performance and when I practice.
For a child of 13 to be able to do this, it's a gift, but it's also a gift of making that commitment and solving those problems and really getting into the practice room and sweating every day.
Phillip put his talent to the test, performing the Kabalevsky Concerto for Indianapolis's New World Youth Orchestra Artist Competition.
When I heard my name, I was really happy and surprised, but I was, of course, nervous that I had to play with an orchestra in front of so many people.
The winner of the Young Artist Competition has the honor to perform with the New World Youth Orchestra at the prestigious Hilbert Circle Theater.
In its first year, only had 18 musicians, and now in its 34th year, we have 220 across 3 orchestras. Over the years, as a conductor, you see lots of talent come in and come out. And the first rehearsal with Phillip, you could tell right away that this is who the winner was supposed to be. What I love about Phillip, he was just so unassuming with the whole thing. So he just came up and he just played like a professional, and he listened to the orchestra and he listened to me, and we tried to collaborate, which is what it should be. And he adjusted if need be, and we adjusted if need be. It's just been very easy to work with him.
Playing in this experience, it was really amazing for the first time to have a full orchestra playing behind you, to have so many different instruments supporting or going against what you played, and there's so much mixing in the sound and so much contrast at the same time. It's just so different than just playing with one other instrument. Just having this opportunity, I think it'll probably give me a lot more courage to play in maybe more of these competitions, or just have more courage within my playing itself. Walking off the stage and hearing all the applause, taking my bow, and finishing that last chord, it was a big relief after so many months of working the piece and so many rehearsals with the orchestra, the hours that I had to put into all that practice. It was definitely a big relief to walk out that stage and knew that I was finally done. But at the same time, I felt a lot of joy because it was a really fun experience, especially since it was such a new one to do as well.
Right after the performance, I hugged him, and of course I was very emotional. He just looked at me and he said, "Why are you crying?" I just had fun, you know.
You see a growth, and it's not a growth of technicality or musicality, it's a growth of confidence, it's a growth of vibrancy of sound or energy. That spark really shines through.
Sacrifice is worth every minute you spend helping your child, even though in the case that they don't become professional musicians. That's going to stay as part of their makeup as human beings. And in the case of Phillip, he might decide to be a violinist or he might not. We need to leave that door open for him, even though he does have a passion for the violin. But who knows, you know.
We all have been together as a team to help him learn to play the violin, to take him every step of the way from the Twinkle through Kabalevsky and beyond. He's matured a tremendous amount. He's always been a special kid right from the get-go. He has a story to tell. When you hear him, he puts his heart and soul into his playing, which I think is something that's quite unusual. It's a huge charge to be able to stand up and make music and move people through your music making, and I think that's really special.
Indiana is known for great entertainers. Perhaps this year you want to laugh a little easier? Well, meet the man who made the world laugh.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the star of our show, Red Skelton. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
For over 70 years, Red Skelton entertained audiences across America. But what few know is that his career began on the streets of Vincennes. The youngest of 4 boys to a widowed mother, Red Skelton began working at only 8 years old as a newsboy performing for passers-by in a bid to sell papers. It was on one such day, while standing in front of the famed Pantheon Theater, that his performance attracted the attention of a well-dressed gentleman.
And he said a very fancy dressed man came by and asked if he was going to the show that night. And Red said, no, I can't. I need to sell my papers. So the man gave him $1 and gave him a ticket to the show that night. And when the curtains opened, there he was. The man who had bought his papers was the star that night. Hit the person next to him and said, "That's my friend, that's my friend." At intermission, Ed Wynn brought him backstage and he held him up to the big lead-weighted curtains, and he peeked through the curtains and he said, looking at that audience, that's what really wanted him to be into show business and to make people laugh.
First in vaudeville and then as an MC for dance marathons, Red traveled the country performing. But it wasn't until he met his first wife and business partner, Edna, that Red's popularity began to grow. Performing together as the Donut Dunkers, the comical couple made their radio premiere in 1937. By 1941, Red had his own radio show. Over the next decade, he would perform for the likes of Franklin D. Roosevelt and appear in over 40 MGM studio films. Yet his passion remained with radio and the birthplace of many of his beloved characters, including the iconic Junior and his legendary phrase, "I doed it." The phrase became such a part of the national lexicon that when General Doolittle conducted the World War II bombing of Tokyo, newspapers across the country declared, "Doolittle doed it." After the end of the war, including Red's own service in the Army Entertainment Corps, the nation finally had the opportunity to see Skelton's characters come to life with the television premiere of The Red Skelton Show on September 30th, 1951.
Red Skelton's TV show, it ran from 1951 to 1971, 20 years, and it was in the variety show format, so it was a series of sketches that would be performed by Red and his guest stars, and those were just the stars of the day, because it was a topical show, like Saturday Night Live or something that we might see today was the Red Skelton Show. And so as different things were occurring in the country and in the world, Red would reflect on those in a funny way in his Red Skelton Show. I think the thing that stood out most about Red Skelton during his television show was just his love for his country, his love to laughter, and just his kindness. And it was just so much fun for people to watch it, and his patriotism just really shone through. Probably one of Red's most famous patriotic skits was his Pledge of Allegiance, and he credits that to a 4th grade teacher right here in Vincennes, Indiana. Mr. Laszlo, he says, was his name. And during that Pledge of Allegiance, Red recites it, but he describes each word and what it means, so that when people say the Pledge of Allegiance, they're not just saying the words, but they're actually feeling the meaning of the pledge. The Pledge of Allegiance was first aired in 1969, which was kind of a tumultuous time in the United States. And I think people could look to Red and go, okay, we are still a great country and we are still proud of where we're from. And I think that's what was important to Red.
And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine.
After the show's cancellation in 1971, Red Skelton returned to the theater, performing for audiences until his death on September 17, 1997, at the age of 84. After his passing, the acting Vincennes University president, Dr. Philip Summers, petitioned to build a theater and museum in honor of Skelton's legacy. In 2006, the Red Skelton Performing Arts Center opened on the Vincennes University campus. 7 years later, on the 100th anniversary of Red's birth, the Red Skelton Museum opened to the public.
The Red Skelton Museum is 3,500 square feet of sheer fun. It is so interactive and just something for every age. But you're not just reading about Red and looking at pictures about Red, you can actually be a part of it. You can listen to his radio shows, you can actually enter sound effects, pantomime on a green screen with Red. And in our character gallery, you'll get to do interactive clown makeup virtually on your face. The museum's motto is preserving Red's legacy of laughter. And that's what we want to do here because, you know, not everybody today remembers Red Skelton being on television, but his humor is relatable to everyone. The thing about Red Skelton and really preserving his legacy is that he is an example for generations to come of you may come from poor beginnings and really struggle, but you can, through your own perseverance and your own hard work, really go on to be successful and bring joy to so many people all throughout the world.
And if by chance someday you're not feeling well, and you should remember some silly little thing that I've said or done, and it brings back a smile to your face or a chuckle to your heart, then my purpose has been served for my fellow man. May I wish you all continued success, and God bless. Good night. Thank you.
Red Skelton pioneered new paths in comedy, changing homes across the country. But innovation doesn't have to be nationwide to have an impact. Sometimes the closer to home, the more impactful it will be.
Star City, Indiana. It's a fitting name for the unlikely home to some of the state's most famous residents. Each year, hundreds trek from around the country to see them. No, not them. Them. That's right. The 140 cows that reside at this fourth-generation dairy farm.
I've always enjoyed the farming. I remember we had a tour of some children from Marshall and Fulton County, and they were here, and I said when I was a child, I used to play in the yard down there in my sand pile with tractors and trucks, and the only thing that's changed is the size of my toys. I just use bigger toys now to do the same thing I've always wanted to do, and that was farm.
For Sam, dairy farming is in his blood. His grandfather started the farm in 1919, and in 1956, his father built their first milking parlor. But when Sam took over, his focus wasn't on where the cows were milked, but how the cows were milked.
There was an article in a farm magazine about robots being put in use over at Europe. And my wife, Pam, said that I made a comment that, boy, someday I'd like to own some of those. The 3 times a day milking was the major thing back then. If you milk a cow 3 times a day over twice a day, you'll increase your milk production by 10 to 14% with no other forces being implemented. But the labor is a real issue with that. With robots, they do it 24 hours a day and it eliminates the labor problem. I don't know why, it just made so much sense to me. I call ourselves cowologists. It's about what the cow is thinking and wanting. I know that seems silly, but it's really what the cow wants to do. It's totally up to her.
Robotic milkers became available in the Netherlands in 1992, but it took another 8 years for them to be introduced in the US. When the Jones installed their robots in 2003, they were one of only 10 robotic dairies in the nation.
They actually interviewed us before they said we could buy the robots to make sure we were robot material. We would understand and be able to learn all of this. And after they did that quick interview and came and visited our facility and spoke with us, they said, well, yeah, you will work well. They basically said, we're going to train the cows first and then we'll teach you. And so the cows learned how to do the robot thing, and we kind of stepped back and watched and helped in the process. And it did take some cows a little longer than others, and some took off and learned it first time through. And it's still that way. Even we have a new mama that just calves, and we're bringing her up for the very first time and introducing her to the robot. It takes a little while. It's just their personality.
And just like a personal signature, each cow provides unique milk characteristics that the robot can record and track.
The cow steps onto the robot and it's ID'd. And each cow has a electronic ID tag that's also the activity tag. So if she's ID'd and it says she needs to be milked, the robot arm will proceed to stimulate and clean her teats each quarter. And the robot tracks color of milk. It does a conductivity test on the milk. If milk is abnormal due to being in heat or the cow is sick or along those lines, the robot gets a reading and alerts us to check this cow for what might be wrong with her. It lets us treat our cows before the infection really gets a hold of the cow, so it takes less antibiotics. It just gives you a wealth of information to make the animal more healthy and hopefully help other farmers too.
Each year, the Jones provide hundreds of tours, not just to local school children, but also to fellow dairy farmers, hoping to raise awareness about the benefits, especially for small farms, where the introduction of robots can dramatically improve lifestyle, increasing family time without decreasing livelihood.
My dad used to be really happy if we would ship 1 million pounds a year. This year we're on goal to almost ship 3 million pounds of milk on pretty much the same amount of land for the dairy. The stress on the animal is so much less. There's no waiting uncomfortable, can't sleep, can't lay down. The robots are always open.
The happy mood of the herd caused an unexpected change. No moo in the herd.
We don't hear a lot of mooing on our farm. It was hard to get used to because the cows mooed a lot when we milked the other way, wanting to be fed, wanting maybe to lay down, and we had them in the holding area. And we didn't really realize that until we got the robots, and we heard no mooing one day, and we actually called a professor at Purdue and asked, our cows don't moo anymore. And he said, well, they don't want for anything. They really do like the laid-back approach of letting them pick and choose when they want to eat, letting them choose when they want to lie down. If they want to stand out in the cow lot in the rain, they can. If they want to stand out in the sunshine, they do. I've seen cows licking icicles off the barn. They're almost like kids. That's the part I enjoy the most about the cows, is actually seeing their unique personality. I've always had a connection with animals. I really have a degree in radiology, but I quit the day before we got married to become a dairy farmer, and that was 37 years ago, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Building and improving on one's sense of family makes many New Year's resolution lists. It takes a strong community to support great achievements, and giving love to your friends and neighbors is the first step.
At Maxines Chicken and Waffles in downtown Indianapolis, the pan-fried chicken is the epitome of home cooking, which makes sense. Before it hit the menu, this dish was made for decades at a home on the south side of Indianapolis, where a woman named Maxine Bunnell raised her 10 children and fed them well.
My mom cooked various dishes that were favorite. Now, her fried chicken, love it, you know. So she did teach us that. That was one of her pretty much those signature dishes, her fried chicken. And I would watch her fry that, and that's why I picked up my way of cooking the chicken is from her. The pan-fried chicken, I'm frying it just like my mom would fry that.
4 of Maxine's children own the restaurant in downtown Indianapolis. It's a tribute to their late mother, featuring her recipes and other Southern comfort food. At Maxine's house, pan-fried chicken, cooked low and slow in a skillet, was a staple.
Sunday mornings, my mom would get up. When we sleep, she would start cooking. She would fix her biscuits. Back then, they were fried chicken for breakfast. It just wasn't a dinner meal or a supper meal. It was breakfast.
Donice remembers that when she was little, her mom and dad kept chickens in the backyard. Her dad would butcher the chicken, then turn it over to her mom to work her magic.
And she would wash it. She would season it real well. And then she'd put her grease on, let the grease get hot. And she would flour the chicken and she would fry it, you know, cook it done. And it would take about 35, 45 minutes to cook it.
At the restaurant, the pan-fried chicken is served perfectly crispy and lightly seasoned on the outside, juicy inside, with traditional sides that you would have found at Maxine's house.
For breakfast, when we would eat fried chicken, she would have biscuits and fried apples. At dinner, I mean, it would be fried chicken, and she would slice up tomatoes, and she would do her fried corn, and she would do her green beans, and she would do macaroni and cheese, she would do potato salad. So it was always an array of side items that she would do with her fried chicken.
It was 9 of us, so you know, it's like we would sometimes kind of take turns eating, you know, because it just wasn't, the table wasn't big enough for all 9 of us to sit. But like I said, she would have plenty of food fixed on the stove, you know. She'd have it on the cabinets. We would go fix our plates.
Maxine never actually owned a restaurant herself, but she still made a career out of cooking.
She had various jobs that I couldn't remember, but you know, her main job that allowed her to, I guess, continue her craft was she was a cook at St. Francis Hospital for over 30-some years until she retired. She was a working lady during that time when a lot of women may not have worked.
All right, guys, we got a Randy's Pan.
Flash forward 2 generations to 2007. It was Maxine's grandson who had the idea to open a restaurant in her honor and add a contemporary twist by serving chicken and waffles. The family talked it over at a Thanksgiving dinner. That was the one holiday every year where Maxine requested full family attendance. In 2008, Maxine's Chicken and Waffles opened. And although dementia kept Maxine from having a hand in the business, she's been there in spirit from the start.
She taught me the fundamentals of cooking. She really did. Whatever she cooked it with a lot of pride, and she cooked it with a lot of love. And that's what stands out to me, is that pride and that love that's in that dish.
Maxine passed away in 2012 at 88 years old. For her family, one of the joys of the restaurant is seeing families sit down to a meal together, a ritual that Maxine cherished so much.
This restaurant was born out of love. We want to pass that love to generation to generation to generation.
Well, we hope that you are as inspired as we are by these Hoosiers.
And Erica, let's usher in 2017 with some musical inspiration from Shaun Fleming. Good night.
They fled to the west. You give me love, but your love is undressed, and your body's ashamed. Weight of the game has easily pinned you as fast as you blame, and I know it's my life.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.